Look around at the people you call your friends. Who are they really? Are they loyal brothers who would stand back to back with you in a brutal storm? Or are they merely convenient companions who enjoy your company when the drinks are free, the music is playing, and your life is easy? Most people go through life surrounded by a crowd of smiling faces. They have hundreds of phone contacts. They have dozens of group chats. They exchange jokes, share meals, and talk every single day. They believe they are loved. They believe they have built an unshakable army of allies. Then the storm arrives. You lose your job. Your business faces a crisis. Your health breaks down. You experience a season of deep financial hardship or emotional exhaustion. You look around the battlefield for the people who promised you eternal loyalty. The room is completely empty. The phone stops ringing. The group chats fall silent. The people who drank your wine and laughed at your jokes suddenly become too busy to answer your calls. You are left standing in the cold, stunned by the realization that you were never surrounded by friends. You were surrounded by smiling parasites who were only there to consume your light. Over 2,000 years ago, Roman philosopher Seneca looked at the crowded streets of Rome and warned his friend Lucilius about this exact human tragedy. In letter 3 of his Letters from a Stoic, Seneca wrote these immortal words: "When you consider someone your friend, you must deliberate long and hard before you accept him. But once you have made your decision, trust him with your entire soul." Most men make the fatal mistake of befriending first and judging later. Marcus Aurelius sat alone in his imperial tent on the northern frontier, surrounded by thousands of soldiers, senators, and servants. Yet in Book 6 of his Meditations he wrote, "How rare is genuine fidelity. Men trade smiles in the forum while concealing knives beneath their robes. A wise man loves humanity with a just heart, but he places his trust in no one until their character has been tested in the furnace of adversity." Today, you will learn the ancient Stoic law of tested trust. You will discover why true loyalty is the rarest commodity on earth. You will learn the 3 psychological tests the Stoics used to separate faithful allies from treacherous pretenders. And you will master the art of standing sovereign, self-sufficient, and emotionally untouchable. Welcome to the Stoic Power Club. Clear your mind of all naive illusions. Breathe deeply. Let us step into the cold truth of human nature. Look at today's generation. We live in an era of superficial connection and shallow loyalty. Social media has completely cheapened the sacred word friend. A stranger clicks a button on a screen and they are called a friend. You exchange text messages for 2 weeks and you tell them your deepest insecurities. You share a few laughs at a bar and you believe you have found a brother for life. Look at how reckless this behavior is. You would never leave the front door of your house wide open in a dangerous neighborhood. You would never leave your wallet unattended on a busy street, yet you leave the iron gates of your mind completely unguarded. You give strangers access to your private goals. You tell them your financial plans. You expose your emotional vulnerabilities. You invite untested individuals into the sacred sanctuary of your inner citadel. What happens when you trust untested people? The moment their personal interests conflict with yours, they betray you. The moment your status drops, they abandon you. The moment you share an ambitious goal, they mock you behind your back because your vision exposes their cowardice. Modern psychology calls this conditional attachment. Most human relationships in modern society are purely transactional. People do not love you for your character. They love the benefits, the entertainment, the status and the convenience you provide to their lives. The moment the transaction ceases to be profitable for them, their loyalty vanishes into thin air. The ancient Stoics understood that human nature is naturally driven by self-interest. Epictetus taught his students in his discourses, "Do not be deceived by appearances." When a man's property, his status, or his comfort is threatened, his true nature emerges. A dog plays with another dog happily in the yard until a piece of meat is thrown between them. Then they reveal their teeth. If you want to protect your peace, your focus, and your destiny, you must stop being naive. You must stop assuming loyalty simply because someone smiles in your presence. You must subject every relationship in your life to the 3 Stoic tests of character before you ever grant them the title of friend. The first test of Stoic trust, the test of the storm. How does a person act when your life falls into crisis? This is the most obvious test, yet it is the one that exposes 90% of fake companions. In ancient times, the philosopher Zeno of Citium observed that fair weather friends are like the swallows of summer. They arrive when the sun is warm and the fruit is ripe, but the moment the cold winds of winter blow, they take flight and disappear across the sea. Look at your own life during seasons of difficulty. When you are sick, who actually visits you without asking for anything in return? When you are broke, who stands by your side without looking down on you? When your reputation is attacked by rumors, who defends your name in rooms where you are not present to defend yourself? Notice the behavior of the pretender. When you face adversity, they offer vague, empty sympathy. That is so terrible. Let me know if you need anything." And then they disappear for 3 months. They do not want to be associated with your struggle. They fear that your misfortune is contagious. They only want to participate in your victory parade. They have zero interest in bleeding with you in the trenches of war. Seneca wrote in his essay on Providence, "Fire tests gold, but adversity tests brave men and true friends." A man who has never walked through disaster alongside you is a stranger whose loyalty is completely unverified. If someone disappears during your winter, never welcome them back into your summer. The second test of Stoic trust, the test of the ascent. This is a far more subtle and dangerous test of human nature. Many people can tolerate your failure. In fact, some people secretly enjoy your struggles because your pain makes them feel superior and secure in their own mediocrity. The true test of a companion is not how they react when you fall, it is how they react when you win. Observe what happens when you achieve a massive breakthrough. You get a major promotion at work. You transform your physical body into stone. You build a profitable business. You purchase a new home. You master your discipline and step into real personal power. Look closely at the faces of the people around you in that exact moment. Do not listen to their words. Observe their micro-expressions. Look at their eyes. Is there a split-second delay before they smile? Is there a forced, hollow tone in their congratulations? Do they immediately follow their praise with a subtle, passive-aggressive comment? Do they say, "Do not let it go," to your head, or "You just got lucky with the market"? Modern psychology calls this malicious envy. An insecure person views your success as a direct insult to their own laziness. Your growth exposes their stagnation. Your discipline highlights their lack of control because they lack the courage to climb the mountain alongside you. Their only desire is to see you slip and fall from the cliff. Marcus Aurelius warned himself about this dark trait in Book 10 of Meditations. The green-eyed man smiles at your face while praying for your ruin in secret. Guard your achievements from the eyes of the envious, for their praise is merely the prelude to their sabotage. A true Stoic brother celebrates your victories as if they were his own. He feels zero jealousy because his soul is anchored in virtue. If a companion cannot look at your success with pure, uncompromised joy, that person is a dangerous snake waiting for the right moment to strike. The third test of Stoic trust, the test of the spoken secret. How does a person handle the private affairs of others? This is the ultimate test of integrity and character. Epictetus taught his students a fundamental rule of observation. If you want to know how a man will treat you tomorrow, look at how he treats his enemies and his acquaintances today. Look at how people communicate in your social circle. Does a friend sit with you and eagerly share the private secrets, vulnerabilities, and embarrassments of mutual acquaintances? Do they gossip about their co-workers? Do they mock their other friends the second those friends leave the room? Do they say, "Do not tell anyone I told you this, but look at what happened to him"? Understand this absolute law of human behavior. The man who gossips with you will inevitably gossip about you. The person who betrays the trust of others to entertain you will betray your trust the second it serves their social status in another room. A man who lacks the discipline to govern his own tongue lacks the character to be a loyal ally. In ancient Rome, Cato the Younger was revered because he refused to participate in gossip, slander, or private character assassination. When senators approached Cato to whisper rumors about political rivals, Cato looked at them in cold silence and said, "If what you have to say is not just, honorable, and necessary, keep it buried in your own chest." A true Stoic holds secrets like a tomb. If a companion demonstrates that their mouth is loose, if they trade other people's dignity for cheap laughter, cut their access to your private life immediately. To see what true, transcendent loyalty looks like in history, we must look at the legendary philosophical brotherhood of Damon and Pythias in the 4th century before Christ. Damon and Pythias were devoted followers of Pythagorean and early Stoic principles of virtue and brotherhood. Pythias was falsely accused of treason against the tyrannical ruler Dionysius of Syracuse and was sentenced to public execution. Pythias accepted his fate with absolute calm, but requested one final favor from the tyrant: to return to his homeland for 6 months to settle his family affairs and say farewell to his mother. The tyrant Dionysius laughed in mockery and said, "If I release you, you will never return. You are asking me to trust the word of a condemned man." At that moment, Damon stepped forward before the throne of the tyrant. Damon looked Dionysius in the eyes and said, "I will take his place in the dungeon. Put me in iron chains. If Pythias does not return by the appointed day of execution, execute me in his place." The tyrant was stunned by the proposal, believing Damon was a complete fool. He accepted the wager, placed Damon in heavy chains, and allowed Pythias to leave. 6 months passed. The day of the execution arrived. The sun began to set over the public square of Syracuse. A massive crowd gathered to watch Damon die. The executioner sharpened the axe. The tyrant Dionysius mocked Damon, saying, "Your friend has abandoned you. He is living freely while you die for his cowardice." Damon stood tall in his chains, with a calm, unbothered smile. He replied, "My friend Pythias will return. If he is delayed, it is because the sea winds have turned against him, not because his honor has failed. I am ready to die for my brother." At the very last minute, as the executioner raised the blade, a horse charged into the square. Pythias leaped from the horse. Bruised, bloodied, and exhausted, from surviving a shipwreck and bandits on the road. He threw himself into Damon's arms, weeping with joy that he had arrived in time to save his brother's life. The tyrant Dionysius stood up from his throne in absolute shock. The entire crowd fell into reverent silence. Dionysius pardoned both men on the spot, descended from his platform, and begged them, "Teach me the secret of your brotherhood. Allow me to become the third member of your alliance." Damon and Pythias politely declined the tyrant's request, for they knew that true brotherhood cannot be bought with imperial gold or shared with men who lack virtue. Look at the immense contrast between ancient philosophical loyalty and modern, disposable relationships. True brotherhood is not built on casual entertainment. True brotherhood is forged in the shared fire of honor, virtue, courage, and mutual sacrifice. How do you apply this ancient Stoic wisdom to your daily life starting today? You must follow the 3 rules of the sovereign circle. Rule number 1. Keep your inner circle tiny. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire of 50 million souls, yet his inner circle of trusted philosophical advisors consisted of less than 5 men. Stop trying to be friends with everyone. A man who is a friend to all is a true friend to none. Be polite to the masses. Be just and fair to your colleagues. Treat every stranger with human dignity. But keep the iron gates of your inner citadel locked. Reserve your deepest trust for the rare, precious individuals whose character has survived the test of the storm, the test of the ascent, and the test of the secret. Rule number 2. The law of early testing. Do not wait for a life or death crisis to discover the true nature of the people around you. Test them in small, controlled ways early on. Tell them a minor piece of false, harmless, confidential information and see if it spreads through your social circle. Share a modest goal and observe the micro-expressions on their face. Say no to a minor request and see if they respect your boundary or react with passive-aggressive anger. Small actions reveal the hidden architecture of the soul. Rule number 3. Practice absolute autarkeia. The ultimate protection against betrayal is the ancient Greek concept of autarkia, total psychological self-sufficiency. Never build your happiness, your identity, or your security on the loyalty of other human beings. Human beings are mortal, flawed, and prone to error. Even the best men can stumble. Anchor your soul in the unshakable bedrock of your own virtue, your own self-discipline, and your own relationship with the Logos. If faithful allies walk beside you, welcome them with gratitude and honor. If you are forced to walk the path alone, walk with your back straight, your head high, and your spirit unconquered. A sovereign mind is never truly lonely, for he is always in the company of a noble soul. Tonight, make a binding covenant with your own mind. Audit your circle with ruthless honesty. Cut off the smiling parasites. Stop giving your sacred energy away to people who treat your loyalty like cheap entertainment. Stand firm in your solitude. Build your strength in silent discipline. And let your character be the beacon that attracts true, virtuous brothers to your banner. Welcome to the Stoic Power Club. If this masterclass in Stoic truth and tested loyalty brought clarity to your spirit today, subscribe to the channel, activate all notifications, and join our growing brotherhood of sovereign minds. Leave a comment below with the words, "Tested Trust," to seal your commitment to the path of self-mastery. Stand firm, stay disciplined, command your life,